The debut of the Illuminati was one of the most avidly awaited inclusions in the MCU since they were very first teased in the first Multiverse of Madness trailer. Ever since the original promotional material teased the return of Professor Charles Xavier among other beloved characters, fans have been avidly awaiting the big screen debut of this elusive team. But now that we've all seen Multiverse of Madness, what are some of the most important things that we learned about them from Doctor Strange, and how did they respond differently to the events that happened in Earth 616? And how do they compare to the earthly heroes of our primary timeline, specifically when confronting Thanos the Mad Titan? Well, stick with us today, watchers of the Marvel Multiverse, and let's delve into some of the most interesting details that we learned about the Illuminati, including one of the greatest battles that they faced before the events of Doctor Strange 2. Spoilers ahead for the Multiverse of Madness. First, let's address something that probably is the most significant moment in the Illuminati's lifetime, that being the defeat and ultimate death of Thanos on Titan, which we actually get a glimpse of, courtesy of Professor X in a vision to Doctor Strange. From just a few brief scenes, we can learn a lot about this encounter with Thanos and how it happened much differently than what took place on Earth 616, or the mainline MCU, which saw Thanos take the Time Stone from Doctor Strange before invading Wakanda in order to complete the set. For one, we know that they not only defeated Thanos, but actively killed him on Titan in a rather gruesome way. But more so than this, we know that he was stabbed with his own double-bladed sword. Though this seems like a relatively minor detail on the surface, there is a ripe well of subtext to explore as a result of this, which warrants multiple different notes. Not only was the sword badly broken despite being made of the metal known as Uru, but the fact that it was present at all in reality speaks volumes about the Thanos of Earth 838 and what he thought of the Illuminati versus what he thought of the Avengers in 616. On Earth 616, Thanos abandons his armor after collecting just 2 Infinity Stones, and throughout the remainder of Infinity War, he wears very little physical protection. After invading Xandar and defeating Thor aboard the Statesman, Thanos decides that he is powerful enough to move around uninhibited by his armor. Instead, he relies on 2 stones to be enough, and for the most part, he's ultimately correct, as he suffers very little in the way of physical injuries before his near defeat in Wakanda at the hands of Thor. This, though, is not the case for Thanos in 838. If he was still carrying the sword in this reality, despite holding at least 4 Infinity Stones that we actually get to see in his gauntlet at the time of the Illuminati flashback, then it stands to reason that he regarded the Illuminati as a much more dangerous threat than the Earth 16 Thanos believed that the Avengers of his reality were. This Thanos seems to have been challenged far earlier in the story, and at some point in his battle with the heroes of Earth 838, he decided that he still needed his sword in addition to 4 Infinity Stones. It was also confirmed that they used the Book of Vishanti to defeat Thanos, and if he was aware of this, it could also help to explain why he held onto his sword despite being far more powerful, believing that this is the weapon that ultimately threatened him. Though the Book of Vishanti was never actually used in the Multiverse of Madness, the book is described as having the ability to grant a sorcerer virtually any power he could need in any situation, or as they put in the film, to defeat any foe. The fact that Doctor Strange believed that the book would grant him the ability to stand up to Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch herself, speaks volumes about its alleged power and what it might have been capable of, as Wanda is one of the single most powerful individuals in the known Marvel Cinematic Universe, as she proved heavily in Multiverse of Madness. This would make a master of the mystic arts, with the book on hand, one of the single most powerful individuals in all universes. And it stands to reason that Earth 838 Doctor Strange with the Book of Vishanti was worlds above our iteration of the Good Doctor, because of the book's inherent power. While many of the Illuminati members are incredibly powerful in their own right, very few of them seem to be capable of breaking Uru outright, which is again an incredibly impressive feat that we want to explore more, let alone to the extent that we see Thanos' blade fractured in the flashback. Reed Richards and Professor X are largely relying on their intellect in all battles, and neither of them have the physical strength to break Uru as far as we know. Captain Carter, while incredibly strong and highly skilled in her own right, also seems to lack the ability to break a metal as strong as Uru. While Black Bolt and Captain Marvel might be the most likely candidates and might have the physical ability to break the sword, we cannot confirm whether or not it was actually one of them, although it is a definite possibility. Given the fragility of Black Bolt's powers, however, he may have been hesitant despite being physically capable of breaking Uru, and this version of Captain Marvel seems actually far less powerful than her Earth 616 counterpart, seeing as the 838 Marvel is killed rather easily by a falling statue and overall seems to pack less of a punch than the iteration of Captain Marvel from Earth 616, who actually managed to fly through the Sanctuary 2 Thanos' ship with ease. Carol Danvers was also able to stave off the invasion of an entire Kree flight force, decimate Thanos' armies, and hold her own against some of the greatest threats in the universe. Maria Rambeau of Earth 838, however, was barely able to knock Wanda off balance. While it's currently unknown who broke the blade of Thanos, and whether or not Black Bolt or Captain Marvel were able to do so, the likeliest answer seems to be Strange himself. But why do we believe this? This information is actually based on the line wherein it's explained that the Illuminati used the Book of Vishanti to defeat Thanos, and this being their key weapon. And it stands to reason that at the helm of this encounter was, of course, Stephen Strange. If this is true, then it would mean that this iteration of Strange was able to take on the power of Thanos with 4 Infinity Stones, as well as break an Uru blade in the process, which are both incredibly powerful feats of physical strength that are to be commended on any timeline in the Marvel Multiverse. It's also important to note that it was just the core members of the Illuminati that interfered with Thanos, and no other team was present despite some of the most well-known teams being represented by the Illuminati's roster. We know that the Fantastic Four exists and that at least Sue Storm is alive in 838, as Reed confirms as much in the scene. We can also presume that the X-Men also exist in 838, or at least mutants as a whole exist in some prevalent capacity given Charles Xavier's inclusion in the film, and his title being Professor indicates that he has his own school as well as his own students, likely again mutants. The inclusion of the X-Men 97 musical theme also hints at ties between this version of Xavier as well as the animated series, which showcased multiple formidable heroes in their primes. Finally, Captain Carter is regarded as the first Avenger, confirming that there is in fact an iteration of the Avengers on this timeline. While the Fantastic Four are explorers first and foremost, and Xavier regards his teammates as students who he needs to care for, the Avengers are designed to be Earth's mightiest heroes and premier defense force, yet none of the Illuminati members enlisted the assistance of any of their other teammates for this quest against Thanos, not even Captain Marvel and the Avengers, meaning the Illuminati is the greatest force on this universe. The Infinity Stones, however, are a point of contention. While Thanos collected the stones in the same order as he did on Earth 616, some of the stones might not have been present in the same places. We do not know if the Soul Stone is still on Vormir, and therefore, we do not know if a version of Gamora was ultimately sacrificed. We also do not know where the Mind Stone is simply because Vision is not present in this universe and in modern day, at least as far as we know. If Thanos never arrived to kill Vision, then why isn't he present when Wanda dreamwalks into her multiversal counterpart? And why does he seem to be rather uninvolved in the lives of his wife as well as his children if Vision exists in this universe? Furthermore, Captain Carter's inclusion in the team largely skews the events of World War II, as the Red Skull's fate may have been drastically different as the fate of the Tesseract. But until more information is given, it's difficult to say with confidence what exactly happened to each individual Infinity Stone. But anyway, my friends, what did you think of the Illuminati of Earth 838? And would you like to see the team return? And which members would you ultimately like to see again in live action or in the near future? Do you think one day there could actually be a mainline Earth 616 Illuminati team? And if so, who do you think would be a part of it? As always, my friends, hit that subscribe button to assemble and join our team, and I hope you have a great day.